You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Strong opinions and your phone calls. Expect it here. CBS Sports Radio.
Hey Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves Baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves Baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, for all of Braves country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves Country Baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, living in an era of baseball where the impossible is unfolding right before our eyes.
Salvador Perez, the 2-2. Popped up, Sandoval, in foul territory. Giants win! A World Series win for the San Francisco Giants for the third time in the last 5 years. And their hero, Madison Bumgarner. The 1-2 again. Inside corner! The Royals, 2015 World Champion. This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series! Bryant makes the play! It's over! And the Cubs have finally won it all!
But the game right now is at the plate. High fly ball into right field. She is gone! In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
Armchair.
TGIF on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Justin Waller and Mac McGee are back at it 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern every Friday evening right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel and your local CBS Sports affiliates. We're talking the NFL, Major League Baseball, and Southern football, so grab you a cold one. It's finally Friday on the Armchair Quarterbacks, 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern. Waller and McGee getting you ready for your sports weekend. The Armchair Quarterbacks are covering America's pastime from spring training all the way to the Fall Classic.
5-2 Dodgers in the ninth. Got him. They've done it. Like the 1969 Mets, it's the impossible dream revisited.
And Myers bringing it. And the pitch is hit in the air. Foul off first. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it. It's a base hit. It's a 1-0 10-inning victory.
Belt, left field, way back. Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the ninth inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Armchair.
Hey baseball fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel is going to bring you the baseball game of the week on Thursday nights. Tones Ariola and Mac McGee bringing you the action, the biggest game of the week in all of Major League Baseball. That's Thursday nights, this baseball season, the MLB game of the week, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Armchair Quarterback Radio. We cover the world of baseball from start to finish.
Baerga is 0 for 3. Left center field. Grissom on the run. The team of the 90s has its world championship. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
Brocious, fittingly with a throw, and the Yankees have done it again. Number 24. They are the world champions of baseball in 1998. Chance of a lifetime for Luis Gonzalez. 2-2, bottom of the ninth, game 7 of the World Series. Bases loaded. Floated, center field. The Diamondbacks are world champion. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. In the air to left, well hit. Back is Craig. What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
Thirsty Thursdays, it's the Armchair Quarterbacks Show. Joey and Tones Ariola, Mac McGee, and the rest of the guys dropping by, talking baseball, football, and everything in between. Catch the Armchair Quarterbacks on Thirsty Thursdays, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Armchair Quarterback Radio, the gunslingers of sports talk.
And here's second-year quarterback Brett Favre out of Southern Mississippi by way of the Atlanta Falcons. They are hopeful he can succeed in the NFL. Here, Brett Favre, you want a challenge? Try this one. So with their best receiver out of the game, from the 35, 19 seconds left. Favre pumps, throws, touchdown! Is there a spark of life in Green Bay? Touchdown! Yes!
Danny Marino!
Here's Marino, wide open field, throws for a touchdown. It is number 37 on the season, breaks the all-time NFL record.
Going deep and open. Touchdown, Mark Duper. Duper has returned, and he is super.
They are going to bring pressure again. Rodgers is going to roll away, throws it up in the air, says a prayer. Janice, does he stop it? Oh, please!
Here are some things that apparently no human has ever seen. Your neighbors bringing in their groceries.
Hey Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves Baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, for all of Braves country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves country baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. TGIF on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Justin Waller and Mac McGee are back at it 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern every Friday evening right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel and your local CBS Sports affiliates. We're talking the NFL, Major League Baseball, and Southern football, so grab you a cold one. It's finally Friday on the Armchair Quarterbacks, 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern. Waller and McGee getting you ready for your sports weekend. Thirsty Thursdays, it's the Armchair Quarterbacks Show. Joey and Tones Ariola, Mac McGee, and the rest of the guys dropping by, talking baseball, football, and everything in between. Catch the Armchair Quarterbacks on Thirsty Thursdays, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central.
Alright, have you seen this trend on TikTok of like dads in vacation mode or whatever? They play the Home Depot song and then they show their dads like handling everyone's luggage and I don't know about you, but I can't connect with this trend in any way. My dad doesn't act a thing like this, does yours? Where are you getting these TV dads who are this involved in your lives, let alone leading the way on vacation? My dad doesn't even know we're going on vacation until the morning of. Nobody else has got a dad like mine that just sits there until your mom comes in and screams and asks you to pack the cooler. Does anyone else not find this relatable? Who's got a dad like this? This is more of that Gen Z whose dads care about them. Their dads are responsible for everyone's passports? My father has to ask my mom if he even has a passport. And if I forgot mine, you think he'd give people like, hey, what are you gonna do? I'll send you a postcard from Paris, kid. I mean, seriously, whose dad is making their family's itinerary? If my mother didn't plan for when he was supposed to eat lunch, he would starve to death. I can't even ask my dad questions. I don't know, ask your mother. Where do I sign up for a dad like this? I want one.
I got an uncomfortable question for you. Out of all races, what would you say is your least favorite race? Like your least favorite of all? And I'm gonna be honest, mine is probably the 400 meters. Like I ain't never been with that distance.
Armchair.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
But what the hell, boy?
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Good Armchair.
YouTube Live.
CBS Sports Radio Station. The radio station you can call your own. What listeners like about our station? It's everything.
I like everything.
Do you know what listeners like about our station? It's everything.
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good afternoon, Mr. Joey Ariola.
Good afternoon, Mac. I don't know much, but I know one thing. LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers are half a game out from being in the play-in, and I hope they miss it all together because nobody wants to watch LeBron James.
Hi, I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Fantasy baseball is back, baby. And Bruce Arians out of here. Let's talk some sports. We got about a half hour, then we're going live on the draft. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man. With a cool one in his hand. Yeah, the armchair.
Hey, howdy, hi, and top of the evening to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee. How are you, Mr. Tones Ariola?
I'm good, sir. It's another Thursday in the world of sports, and it's been a crazy 24 hours for the Buccaneers, and we got fantasy baseball approaching 1 week from opening day to be exact. We got the Final Four this weekend. Just so much sports going on at this time.
Joey, how the hell are you, sir?
Oh, fired up. I'm entered the draft room. I'm ready to pick some guys. I'm MLB. I could sniff that fresh grass. Give me a bag of peanuts and a cold beer.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it. We got a little time to do this. Top of the hour, we're doing a live draft, and we'll be showing you the draft here, so you'll be able to see what we're doing. Let's get into the Buccaneers, and then we're gonna talk some baseball. Look, Tones, we're obviously gonna let you take the wheel here, being our resident diehard Bucs fan. I'm gonna tell you what my thought process is, and then you react. And you're not right, you're not wrong, but I'm going to tell you what I think. I think Tom Brady said, I'll come back, but Fat Boy's got to get off the sidelines because me and him don't get along anymore for whatever reason. And there's a lot of speculation on why they don't get along. But regardless, it's very obvious that they didn't get along towards the end. They might have had like some mutual respect, but he did not want to work with him because there's too much smoke with the rumors of him wanting to get traded, et cetera, et cetera. And I believe backdoors conversations that we may never know the answer to, it was finally said, we're not going to push Bruce out the door because he did a pretty good job for us, but we don't want to lose Tom Brady. So is this the happy medium? Because I'm not buying that story today out of Tampa saying that Brady found out Bruce was leaving the day after he came back. Because if he really wanted to play for him, he would have talked him into staying, right? So now I'll give you the floor, and I've got to hook something up so I can hear you. You just won't be able to see me for a second.
Yeah, sure. And look, I mean, you could slice the cake a couple different ways here. There's a couple different ways you could look at it. And I mean, if you want to go the ESPN route, the Jeff Passan route, the Pro Football Talk route, you'll be like yourself right now, McGee, and you'll say, okay, we're going to play hypotheticals. But when you look at the facts, when you hear what Bruce Arians has to say, when you hear what Tom Brady has to say, when you hear what the Bucs reporters have to say who are in the locker room, who are doing post-game pressers, pre-game pressers, in the current media sessions, it actually really makes sense. Bruce wanted a great successor, and Todd Bowles is in line to get the best team that Todd Bowles will ever coach at this given time. Didn't get much of an opportunity with the Jets. We've heard all along the past couple of years, all Bruce Arians wants is Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles to get head coaching jobs. They're hell of a candidate. Bowles went through 5 interviews this year. Obviously didn't get a head coaching job. Byron is a young and upcoming offensive coordinator. He's going to get a good head coaching job. Bruce wanted to leave the team in good hands with Bowles. So what I think happened is Bruce was going to have to groom a Trask or a Gabbert or some crap ball quarterback this year. And he said, all right, whatever, I'll do that. As soon as Brady said, all right, I'm coming back, Bruce thought, this isn't a bad time to give it to Bowles right now. If I'm going to retire in January or February anyways, I might as well accelerate the process right now. And that's what J.C. Allen of Pewter Report said on the Buccaneers podcast last night. He said he wouldn't put anything into Bruce and Brady. Now the timing is crazy and, we'll never know. But all that matters is we're here now. Bowles is the head coach. We were going to get here whether it was 10 months from today or today. So one way or another, Todd Bowles was going to be the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it was just a matter of when and not if. And let's be honest, Bruce Arians is still going to be around the team. He's still going to be at practices, on the sidelines.
Yeah, but he's done. I mean, he's not going to be in the kitchen anymore. He's going to be sitting on the outside eating the appetizers, right? He's not going to be in the kitchen anymore, and that's all Brady wanted. I don't think Brady has a disgust for him, but I think for whatever reason he didn't like. I don't think he liked the handling of the Antonio Brown situation. I don't think Bruce was wrong. Do I think Bruce was wrong? No, but we saw Brady do this in New England. Brady will bend every damn rule possible just to get a W. So he was willing to let Antonio Brown do Antonio Brown things. I think Arians was absolutely right for saying, get the hell off the team. He should have done it before that, to be honest with you. But look, I don't believe in that many coincidences. They can try to sell that to us, but there's going to be a tell-all book somewhere down the road, and they're going to say, yeah, Brady wanted him out, and then no one's going to go, oh, I'm shocked. But like you said, the point is it's Bowles' chance, and Bowles has a chance to rewrite his history because Bowles has a bad stink on him from when he was a head coach in New York. And so he has no excuses. He has a loaded team. He is the best quarterback to ever play, and let's go. Right. So, and I think the fresh blood getting Arians off don't you remember that weird comment that Arians made in February? Somebody, maybe I've had too much to drink, and he was like running his mouth and whatnot. And everyone's kind of took it back and they went, all right, I don't know what's going on here. But I think it's a very good thing if you're a Buccaneers fan. I think if Arians would have stayed, it would have been a stale year. And now you're going to get an opportunity to get a new start with the loaded team.
And real quick, it is Todd Bowles. It reminds me of once with the Colts last year in Mayfield. It's their time to succeed. It's now or never. And congrats to Bruce on being in the Ring of Honor next season as well.
You put him up to this. It always comes back to the damn Colts.
Well, quick note, since you did bring up the Colts, I'm going to stick and say one thing. I don't know if this means more or less for Bruce Arians, but nothing changes with the Bucs in my eyes. I think him to Todd Bowles. I just think the same exact thing. I'm not putting down Arians in any way, but I don't think they got any worse or any different from this move. I think it's the same Buccaneers who will go in and be at the top of the NFC. That's all I got.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they'll be top of the NFC, but they'll definitely be. I mean, that division is absolutely garbage.
Right. I think the Rams and the Packers probably
sleepwalk to a division title. The question will be, can they get enough W's to get home field advantage throughout the playoffs? Or do they want to not because they did much better when they didn't play at home the year before?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'd still want the home field advantage, but I mean, I do agree with you at the end of the day, McGee. This is a win-win-win situation for Bucs fans, for Todd Bowles, for Bruce Arians, and for Tom Brady. I think it's good all the way around, to be honest.
Yeah, you absolutely just get rid of him and put it. Look, he'll be around the facility. What'll be interesting to see is if he has any kind of hand in the upcoming draft. Or if
I think he'll have a heavy hand.
You know what, man? Aruba sounds real nice this time of year. Why don't you go down there?
Drinking that whiskey.
Our drafts under Bruce have been the best Bucks drafts we've ever had, honestly.
Right, but was that Bruce or was that the front office?
It was. I mean, Light has been a decent drafter, and he's been pretty good. He's been a little spotty though. Once Bruce got here, the draft 2019's draft was really incredible, and then 2020 was awesome. Last year was man, but we were picked 32, so.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the baseball. We got the baseball draft.
Yes.
And look, we're going to be covering more and more of this as the season goes on. Next week, we will be here. Next week is opening day. Gentlemen, I haven't talked to you about it yet, but they released 2 days ago that first pitch has been moved back for the Braves-Reds game because they're putting it on national TV on ESPN2. And so Tones and I are planning on doing the game. It's going to be 8:08, not 7:20 Eastern time. Are y'all good with going 7 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern as the pregame show, coming on a half hour later so we don't have like a really long show?
That's fine.
Yep.
I'm cool.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I knew it probably wouldn't matter with Tones because he's going to be doing the game with me, but I didn't know if you had somewhere that you had to be, Joey.
All good. I love you, boys.
All right. So that's the programming note next week, and probably next week only we'll be going 7 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, and I'll try to make some announcements on our social media because everyone constantly goes, I didn't know you all changed. I'm like, yeah, because you freaking didn't listen.
Open them ears.
Yeah. Don't tell me you religiously watch our show and go, I didn't even hear you all say that. Exactly. Let's go ahead and get into the baseball because I'm excited about this. We're only taking a few teams today because we only have a little time to do it. And let me get see that right there, my cheat sheet, baby. So,
yes.
If you can pause it real quick and see what's going on, you can find out who I'm drafting first. Let's see here.
You guys got first and second pick.
Yeah, I know. I don't really like second pick, to be perfectly honest with you, because I feel like when you end up with second pick or first pick for that matter, but first is much better because you get back to backs. I feel like you end up having this long stretch before you get your second pick, right? So you draft your first pick high, that dude better not suck because you don't get another, especially it's a 10-man draft. So there's going to be 18 picks to go in between back and forth. And then I got to deal with Joey going back to back, and I'm going to be like the rest of the pick two, and then I have to respond. So I have to ration. Thankfully there's no Colts in this draft, so I don't have to
and don't worry, there's not enough Cubs to be justified in the first couple rounds.
Baseball draft. I've got a couple of baseballs that are going to be added to this. They didn't do them right. It's a long story, but eventually there's going to be a couple of baseballs that are sitting here, and the names have been added from the previous years. And basically we're fighting for the next draft. We're going to be going here or there. I forget how it goes, but anyways, this is what the trophy draft is tonight, and then you get a smaller trophy sent to you.
Awesome.
On it. So that's what we're playing for. The same thing we did in football. The I don't know where the hell the football trophy is, but anyways, they look very similar. It's what do you call it? Stanley Cup style, where all the champions stay, but then we still send one out. Okay, let's start with the Cubs. Might as well. Both y'all are Cubs fans, and they're being projected at 75 wins. I'll let y'all take the floor, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. 75 wins, 87 losses is what the projection is. Now, this was USA Today. This wasn't the Pacoda rankings or anything like this. This is a group of 6 guys that are baseball writers, probably gals too. 6 people that are baseball writers that are basically put their votes in. How many wins do you think they'll get? And then they calculated it, and this is how they came up with the number. So, Joey, I'll start with you. Higher, lower, and why?
I'm right around that number. I'm a little bit higher. I have them at 79 wins. And the reason I say that is mostly because they have a lot of depth. Now, they don't have a lot of star power, which, of course, at the end of the day, you're going to need. unless, obviously the guy we got for Suzuki from overseas becomes a stud. Really, you're looking at Willie Contreras, who's been pretty good at the backstop position. Schwindel, VR, Hap, Ortega, Wisdom. You got a lot of guys who could go either way to me. But where I like this Cubs team is their pitching a little bit more. I think if Kyle Hendricks could revive himself a little bit, Stroman's going to be good this year. You know what you're going to get from a Miley and a Drew Smiley. Not saying that's always the best stuff, but you usually get the consistent numbers there. The bullpen, they had a lot of names. They got a couple guys from the Braves and Jesse Chavez and others. And they also got Dave Robertson. I know he's a name that hasn't been around for a while, but I liked a little bit in the over. They're going to finish third in this division. To me, I'm not picking anything higher or lower than that because I think there's two teams clearly better in the Cardinals and Brewers and two teams clearly worse in the Reds and Pirates. So I have them just a tad above at 79, but 75's about where my thinking's along the lines of.
All right, Tones, what say you?
I got the over on that. I got about 83 to 85 wins.
Wow.
I think the front end of the rotation.
5 wins could I think probably has you in the playoffs, or you're at least sniffing it at that last week.
And I think the NL Central is the worst division in baseball, or the AL Central when you look at it top to bottom. So I think that favors the Cubs greatly. And you hope if Kyle Hendricks has a good year, you got Hendricks, Stroman, and Wade Miley manning the front end of the ship. That's a heck of a 1-2-3 in a rotation. They made some good bullpen moves. It just depends how these guys are going to perform in Wrigley. Guys like Michael Givens, guys like David Robertson, guys like Robert Gesselman, Chris Martin, the list goes on and on. I mean, the Cubs sound pretty good right now. You got VR, you got Simmons, you got Horner, Madrigal. Like Joey said, no huge names, but you got Seiya Suzuki, Ian Happ, Wilson Contreras, but a lot of good names. I like the depth. You got Yan Gomes, and now with the universal DH, you could put a Patrick Wisdom there. You could put a Wilson Contreras there. You could put a Yan Gomes there. I think the Brewers fall off a little bit this year for sure. And the Cardinals, they're one of those off and on teams. I could think of this as an off year perhaps for the Cardinals. I like the Cubs' chances of fighting in the Central because we know the Reds and Pirates are going to be, should be a good series for the Cubs.
Sorry, messing with the screen there. Y'all getting ready for the draft, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to be able to share that screen. We'll play with it as it goes, because I do want to show the teams that are drafting. Okay, so I find this interesting. If you look at the win total projections for BetMGM, Caesars, Pacoda, and Fangraphs, okay, so you're talking about two casinos and then two sites. Pagoda's been doing it for decades. Fangraph's been doing it for quite some time. Looking at the Cubs, they're all right around 75, give or take a half here and there. The one that's much lower is Pacoda, is 71.9, so 72 would be and I've always noticed that their win total is much lower than everyone else's, as far as because when you're talking about betting, you're trying to get it as close as possible. Pacoda is trying to actually project exactly through this, and this statistic, and they cut it across the board. Fangraph does it similar, but they don't do it with the same numbers, obviously, or you'd have mirrored numbers. I feel like 75, they can get that. I feel like they're around an 80 win team. Now, a lot has to do for me how aggressive they may be at the trading deadline. And I think all that entails on how good they are going into it. But I would side with, if I had to pick one or the other, I don't see the Cubs losing 87 games. So I think 75 wins. I think they can get over that. All right, next one up is the Chicago White Sox. So we stay in Chicago, and they are projected for 90 wins. Now, I'll give you the Pacoda and Fangraphs numbers too. They're really close. In fact, you don't see this very often. MGM, Caesars, and Pacoda all have them at 91.5. And so the USA Today had them at 90, and then Fangraphs had it at 88.6. Joey, start with you.
Yeah, I'm high on them. Obviously, I'm a Cubs fan first, but between their division not being so good, I think they get 95 wins actually. And there's not many holes in this team. As long as the starting pitching, Lance Lynn, who knows if he's getting up there if he falls off a little, or They do have Kopech. You don't know what he's going to bring to the table, especially inside his head. That being said, they have a very solid lineup. I like the addition of Josh Harrison. It wasn't the big name at the end of the day, but it fills out their lineup very nicely to go along with Grandal, Abreu, Moncada, Anderson, Jimenez, Robert. The names go on and on. I just really like where this team's at. And again, the AL Central, to me, it is the worst division in all of baseball by far. So I
think the NL Central is the worst because the Reds have punted and the Pirates have been punting for 5 years. And I think you've got up and coming teams with Detroit and Kansas City, Cleveland. They feel a little stale. I'm really surprised they didn't go all in and just sell. Maybe keep a couple of key pieces like the Biebers of the world. But I think I think the worst division is the NL Central. AL Central, I'd put them like just below the NL West because the NL West is very top heavy to me.
Right. And I do like the exciting young guys that the division holds. I just think in terms of wins, the White Sox to me really shouldn't have a problem with any of these 4 teams as their rosters are now. I do like where the prospects are at, especially in Detroit and Kansas City's organization. I like that, but I think the Sox 95 wins and have a good margin where they're not scared off by any of these teams.
All right. So Tone, what say you?
Yeah. And that was at 90. You said the win over under.
Yeah, 90, and then all the Pacoda, 3 of the 4 have the win total at 91.5.
I'll take the under slightly. I think the 87, 88, 89 range sounds good. Wow. Like 88, 74, or
that still probably wins the division by 5 to 7 games, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yep. I think that absolutely wins the division. That's why I think that happens, honestly. I think they have a big division lead going into September. And then given their injury history on some of their starting arms, I think they try and keep some of them fresh. The Giolitos of the world, the Kopechs of the world, the Ceases of the world. They do have a very good bullpen with Graverman, Kimbrel, and obviously Hendricks and Bummer. And like you said, McGee, they do have some more competition this year, like the Royals and the Tigers getting a little better. The Twins got Correa. Nothing too scary, so I don't think they're going to be threatened for the division. I see them coasting with like an 8 to 10 game lead into September, taking the foot off the gas a little bit, finishing with 87 to 89 wins.
Yeah, I'm going to take I'll take the over on the White Sox. I don't have anything to add to what y'all said. I just feel like that they're loaded top to bottom. Y'all both bring up good reasons why you like the over and the under for good reasons. I do think Minnesota will push them a little bit, so maybe they get over that 90 win hump. I have a hard time declaring someone a division champion if I don't think they're going to win 90 games. So that's now look, it happens all the time, but that's just the way my head goes. Real quick, because we only got a few minutes. Let's go Cardinals, 89 wins. I felt like that was a very aggressive number, an interesting number. 89 wins. I'll go ahead and grab this first. I don't think they get there. 89 wins is a lot in that division, but I wouldn't put it past them to win that division because I think 88 wins could win that division. 87 wins could win that division. The Brewers are still what they were, and that is arguably the best pitching staff in baseball, and nada when it comes to offense. Joey, what say you?
This might surprise a little bit of people, but after breaking it down, I like them to win the Central with 90 wins on the dot, 1 above the over. I think 89 was where it's at. I'm going to go 1 over. I'm going to go 90 for them, and I like their balance. I'm not saying they're great in any one area, but when you got guys like Yachty, Goldie, Arenado, O'Neill, DeJong, Edman, I think that brings a lot of stability to your lineup. Albert Pujols obviously is not going to be a huge deal, but with the DH now in his last season, I just feel that kind of like a Coach K last season. I kind of feel that. So
because I can take.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. All I was saying with that is I feel a little bit of nostalgia with Pujols going back there. I'm not saying it's going to be a big effect, but I do like Flaherty, Waino, Matz, and Mikolas. I just think they have a pretty well-rounded team. I'm going to go 90 on the dot. They win the Central.
That's the sign that shows the commercial starting. So the draft's about to start. So
let's go.
What say you? Over under?
I got the under. I think they got the third best starting rotation in the NL Central because Flaherty always gets hurt every year. Wainwright's old as dust. Miles Mikolas was not good last year. Their bullpen isn't that good. They have some bats, they do, but they're inconsistent at that. Goldschmidt really hasn't been the player he's been since he went to St. Louis. Arenado had a good year in terms of RBIs and power last year, but his average wasn't typical Nolan Arenado average. And I think that they easily could be the team to win the NL Central, but I don't think this division is I think it takes about 85, 86 wins to win the Central this year. So it could be the Cardinals, but I'd go under on their current win total. Their bullpen is just not there. Their starting's too often injured and too old, and their lineup's too inconsistent for my tastings.
Okay, so real quick before we get into the draft here, Brewers 92 wins. I'm going to say under. I think they're significantly under. I think they hit probably mid to high 80s, but I don't see them scratching 90. Joey?
I'm going under at 87. I like their rotation, but I really don't like what they bring to the table with their bats.
Tones?
I'm going under because I think McGee, Joe, and I could be their 3, 4, 5 hitters. So
beer league softball.
I think they brought Big Boy back. What's his name? The big left-handed
Omar Narvaez, Rowdy Tellez.
Rowdy Tellez, yeah, that's him. He's just a walking keg is all he is. I still love watching him play. Like he's like the new Prince Fielder, right?
Yep.
So we got that going on, and the draft is about to start.
Yes, it is.
I guess I should share. Let's see here. Well, that might be too much. Y'all can see the draft order, correct?
Yep.
All right, let me unshare then share it again.
Is Bobby in it?
No. Bobby knows. Let's see. So Joey's got the first pick, and this is what we'll be doing for the next.
Juan Soto.
Soto, okay. All right.
Sorry about that.
No. Okay. What? You think it's a terrible pick.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and grab. Is that thing as loud to me as it is to you?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I gotta find a way to turn that in a second.
Tones, where are you at in the order?
I'm at the 8th spot. So meanwhile, McGee gave you 2, 1, and 2, and here's Tones. He calls
it to you. The computer generated it.
I know you're out for
so
me,
glad
man.
that the computer actually shows it was generated, so I don't have to listen to that nonsense. I used to listen, several years ago, guys would go, "Man, why did I get this?"
Really?
They would generate, but they wouldn't. But now they put the stamp out as soon as they generate it, and they also do that to prevent. Just so folks know, they do it to prevent someone from generating 6 or 7 times until they get the one they like.
I'm actually a big fan of the bottom of the order in baseball. I like the 8th or 9th pick.
I'm gonna do this. That should make it a little better for everybody to see.
There's a lot of studs on the board still.
Oh yeah, we're early.
Oh yeah, and that's what I love about baseball is that it's much deeper than football.
And McGee, correct me if I'm wrong, but for Yahoo, there's 2 different Shohei Ohtanis, right? The batter and then the pitcher.
Yes.
All right, thank you. I know in some leagues it's hard to keep.
Yeah,
up.
I think ESPN they let you when you draft one you get both, but that's garbage. I mean, seriously, if you think about it.
Cheat code. It was like when Taysom Hill, but
unless there were like 7, 8 guys in the league that could do that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Is Acuna ready for opening day?
Oh no, he's
a month or 2 away still.
They're hoping May. I'm just not buying it.
All right. Well, thanks for telling me to pretty much screw myself on that one. We're throwing it back. We're taking Mike Trout, hoping he has a vintage Trout type year.
Did you draft him or something? Is that what you're asking?
I was going to draft Acuna, but I ended up going with Trout. Trout, he'll be ready, and he'll be ready to rock. And I feel like he's going to be in for a big year. I know it's Mike Trout, so that's pretty cliche to say, but
yeah.
I feel like some people are sleeping on Trout a little bit now, honestly, because you got so much fresh young talent in the big leagues, and the Angels are always garbage, and they're never on TV.
I was wondering what that. I like how it has the X rank and the rank. You could see what expert picks versus what the system league settings. That's cool.
Trying to see. I guess it's something I don't have clicked where you can show who's being drafted. I don't see the option on the screen, but I guess I'll figure it out as we go.
Do you know when you? Oh no, I see it now. Okay.
Okay, I see it now. All right.
Man, there's a lot.
That thing's on the other side of the planet, so when you see guys drafted, just feel free to blurt it out, because for me to share that, it's way the hell over.
You would have to knock us, yeah,
and you wouldn't be able to see the draft.
So. Right.
There's been. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I'm just gonna say I'll announce who we got when we have him. In the meantime, I like queuing up the board a little bit.
Ian Snell for Jake Peavy. That's a fun name. That's a throwback. Ian Snell and Jake Peavy, man. We got some, solidified hurlers back in the day with Snell and Peavy.
Certain guys I didn't even write on my list because I'm like, that they're not making it back to me. So what's the point?
Bryce Harper just went, and
yeah, that's the thing when you got the first or second pick. It's like, you could just cross certain guys off by the time we get to 18, 19, 20.
That is correct. Injuries make it tricky too. Opening day, it's just hard to garner some things, man. Geesh, I'm gonna go with a lot of good choices. You know what? He's in a heck of a lineup, so I'm going to go with Freddie Freeman.
I always
you go to hell, and you die.
I always find it interesting how people go pitching strategy versus hitting, because I feel like everyone's a little bit different when it comes to how they draft pitchers and hitters.
In my dynasty league, we got that draft on Sunday, and he's on the trade block immediately. I mean, I'm not gonna screw myself and trade for just a bag of balls,
right?
But someone within reason. That dude's not gonna stay on my team all year. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, I could see your point for sure. If I have beefs with players, I don't want them on my squads either, because then they get hard to root for. But it's hard not to envision him as a pretty solid overall first baseman with that lineup this year. They got a lot of old MVPs.
Yeah, I mean, taking a Dodger in a draft is never a bad thing, because they should score a lot of runs for their pitching too.
Jacob deGrom just went.
I was looking at him.
DeGrom's one of those guys who could have a big year,
Who
but
is something Envy, I think, is the name of the team. Do you know who that is?
No, Yahoo gives the craziest names.
Well, it's Yenis Envy. I mean, someone named it.
Oh,
yeah, they probably redid it after
whoever had the last pick in the draft. I can't click on it, because if I click on it, it's going to screw everything up. If y'all could click on it just to let me know who the
Walker Buehler just went to Doug's team, and then Brandon Woodruff just went to Hall of Fame Pete Rose. I'm trying to find out who your buddy is.
Okay, I am up. While you look at that, Tone. Oh man.
I just need the
That's
first.
Steven. That's Steven.
Oh, that's Troche?
Yep.
Wow. He took Tucker in the first round. I was surprised by that. Kyle Tucker. I mean, he's solid, but he's not.
I'm going to draft Luis Robert.
Robert.
As one of my picks.
Joey, the closet Sox fan.
I know. I'm sorry. Well, Cubs, it's going to be a while on this list to get to a Cubs. Man, if I don't take a picture.
So to explain it, the expert rank is like the Yahoo the fantasy experts. They compile it.
Yeah, I like kind of comparing and contrasting. It's interesting to.
Then your ADP is off to the right, and of course that's the average.
I'm a big fan of looking at the ADP because
because especially like you'll see an ADP drop and skyrocket because you're like, wait a minute, what'd I miss?
Exactly. It's like
somebody
who got a charge against him.
Shane Bieber is my second. I needed the pitcher.
I'm going Homer.
Matt Olson.
Come on, baby.
Kaboom. I think he'll have a good year.
Yeah, I think he's going to struggle off the gate. So if you get me in the very first part of the year, you're probably going to have a good chance of beating me because I'm going to have Acuna on the IL and Olson. I just suspect he's going to have a lot of pressure on being the hometown kid.
Yeah, and we've seen whenever you're the big move of the offseason, it ain't easy. Look at what happened to Lindor and with the Mets last year. It's always a tough first year transition for most big time free agents.
Right.
Ozzie Albies, another fellow Brave, just went.
I thought about taking him. Hey, the draft room's getting there's some pop in the room right now. People are excited for baseball. I mean, this is a great time of year, boys, when you get to draft your teams and everyone has an opinion out. This team's good, this team's not good. It's the great part is nobody really knows. It's going to be a fun, great long season. I'm so glad we're back.
That's why I love baseball too, because before the year last year, a team like the Giants, they were on nobody's radar, man. It's like NFL and NBA and NHL. I mean, I guess that could happen, but it's a lot less common in baseball.
By the way, they're being projected around 86, 87 wins by the sports books. That one's an interesting one because remember, they won 108 games, 106 games, something like that last year. That's a big drop off considering their roster didn't really change.
Yeah, and we just had Manny Machado go, so I'm on the clock now. There's a lot of good talent left. So far, I got an outfielder and a first baseman. That's the type of stuff you got to look at, too, with this crap. A lot of outfielders go into it. Not a ton of good middle infielders, so give me the big money man. Give me Marcus Semien. Welcome to the squad.
I've had him in a lot of leagues the past couple of years, and he is about as and he's going to Texas. I think he's going to continue to rake.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
He's extremely underrated.
They had a heck of an offseason. Him and Seager and John Gray, that's a terrific 3 signings.
Semien annoyed me a little bit early in his career because, when he first got to the A's, I remember I had him in fantasy and his glove was superb, but his bat wasn't there. And then his bat I feel like some guys like Joey Bats, I remember back in the day, some guys just go 0 to 100 and a snap of a finger, their numbers just turn around. That was a wild turnaround to me because I remember early on his bat was not there at all, Semien.
No, I agree with you. And that's a crazy thing with fantasy baseball. It's more wild. I mean, rookies in football, you draft them right away. Rookies in baseball, you got to claim him throughout the year. And then when you get him, you got to know, how long do you hold on to him? How long do you give up on him? It's a tough thing. A guy like Semien, when he was young, he was easily droppable. And now look at him. He's a top 40 pick in pretty much every fantasy baseball draft. So that thing's always interesting. Pete Alonso off the board. I'm going with Selvy Perez, baby. Win or lose, we booze. Let's go.
So you've got what do you have, the 6th, 7th pick, something like that?
I got the 8th pick.
8th, okay.
And I like Salvador Perez in a catcher light league or in a catcher light MLB, to say the least. He has 40 homer potential. We've seen it last year. I don't think he'll hit 40 this year, but you never know.
Mac, were you in any keeper leagues? If so, I was interested to see who you decided to keep on, if you could share that yet.
Yeah, I've got a dynasty league that I was just talking about. Let me think about it off the top of my head. So as far as the stars go, because I took kept some rookies too.
Got to.
Well, I got pigeonholed because I've got Freddie Freeman, and you can't just drop them,
right?
But I'll never watch another Dodger game again until I'm forced to. I've got Acuna, obviously, but he's not going to play for about a month. I've got Garrett Cole. Hold on a second. It's my turn now. Talks amongst yourselves, boys.
Joey's trying to distract you, man.
Well, I'm right behind him. I'm coming up the backside with back-to-back picks after he goes right. I mean, me and him get 4 in a row.
Aaron Nola off the board. And
I just drafted Robbie Ray, and he's one of my keepers. The dude's a strikeout machine.
He was awesome for me last year in the league. Legit awesome. I hate doing this because I just don't trust this organization or this player after last year, but I'm taking Lindor. I need an infielder. I think he could bounce back.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
I know. I'm not confident about it by any means. Believe me on that.
It is crazy though, because not too long ago he was, a top 10, 15 fantasy player in the game. Last year happens, he has a terrible year. His ADP falls down. So this is a really big year for a guy like Lindor on how his fantasy status lurks in the future. If he rebounds this year, a lot of people will forget about last year, and I think his status is right back up to where it used to be. But if he continues to play like crap this year, I think he could find himself in trouble.
This is the Cub in me. I think Chris Bryant's just going to rake in Colorado. So why not? I'm going with him.
So for folks that may be joining and don't know the our league, it's a points-based league. It's a head-to-head points league. So it's not a category league, anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and go with this guy because he's kind of down because of arm issues. But Zach Wheeler to me is one of the best there is. And when he's healthy, I'm a little surprised that he's ranked as far down as he is.
Yeah, and he's a beast on the bump. When it's his turn in the rotation, he steps up.
Well, because the name of the game in this particular scoring is obviously innings pitched, but strikeouts, quality starts, etc., wins. That dude is going to be able to deliver, and I know he's got an offense behind him. His defense is going to be junk, but his offense should be able to rake.
And as weird as it sounds, you think all the production averages out, but in a points-based league, you really want that steady production. You don't want inconsistency where in a categories league, you don't mind the guys that hit 8 homers in 1 week and then they win you that week by themselves. But in a league like this, you like the more guys like Zach Wheeler, who you could trust every time he goes to the mound. He could give you that quality start. Whereas a guy like a Yu Darvish, perhaps, you don't know. He's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde out there.
Yeah, I hated taking, Philly, but that's the one thing that, man, it's hard for me to get out of the habit of not. I don't necessarily want a Brave, but I don't like drafting certain teams. Like, I don't have to have a Brave, but man, I really don't want a Dodger. You know what I mean?
I'm with you on that, man. I do that. I do that more so in fantasy football. I still do that in baseball, but in fantasy football, I can't draft a Saint or a Falcon or a Panther. And even in baseball, man, if I have a Cardinal, they're probably a little easier to get in a trade. There goes Cedric Mullins. He had a great year last year.
Now, who drafted him? Because he is interesting because
Acuna Matata.
I'm pretty sure that's Sean. He's interesting because he did have a really good year. But if you look at the other years prior to, now granted, he's only 28 years old, so it's not like he's 32 and you're going, man, this guy came out of nowhere. But I had him on my don't draft list because I'm just nervous having a guy who had this one spectacular year and you look at the rest of his career, it's just kind of garbage.
I went with a little Wander Franco action. I think his ceiling is huge.
It is, especially if you can get him in a keeper league.
I'm going to keep him in one league.
I had a convinced.
By the way, did y'all notice what jersey I had on?
Is that a Bad News Bears? Is that
Bad News Bears, baby?
No way. I love that. That's awesome.
Came in the mail today, like 2 hours before the draft. I ordered it a few weeks ago. I was like, that thing is not going to make it. I kind of forgot about it. I was like, man, I just hope it makes it before I go to the Braves game next week. And because I was going to wear it out on the town if I didn't, have it for tonight. And it just came through. It just got to my door like 2 hours ago.
That is a beauty, man. I'm going to I'm going to start breaking out the baseball attire. I was today, actually, and then the Bruce Arians thing happened, so I busted out my BA t-shirt. But in the coming weeks, I'm going to be getting the baseball gear on.
So Steven has now entered the draft again, so we'll see where he goes. He's got back-to-back picks. So he took Riley, and he's about to
I wanted Riley.
Well, then you should have drafted him.
Shut up. No, he's
yeah. I thought about it, but I was like, all right, now you're getting too many Braves on your team. I don't like having too many guys from one squad, because especially like if they're the beginning of your draft, because if you run into a buzzsaw of a pitching staff on a weekend, a rain out, anything can affect your team.
Freddie Peralta just went to Ian Snell for Jake Peavy, so I'm going to keep the Brewers pitching consistent, and I'm going to get Josh Hader.
I need pitching.
I think he's the best closer in baseball, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's not with us anymore, but that home run Freddie hit against Hader in the playoffs, I would have never bet anything that Freddie was even going to get a single off of him in that position. I'm calling the game, and I'm just rolling my eyes in my head. I'm like, good God. It's like, it's over, man. Like they're gonna. I wasn't giving up on the game, but I was giving up on the inning. I was like, nah, we're not getting it. And he hung a slider. He tried to sneak a slider past Freddie. I bet that's the last time he ever does that in a big situation. That dude brings gas.
I actually remember watching you announce that live too, and you weren't like down and out on the whole thing, but you could tell coming into the at bat, you were kind of like, oh, geez. And then next thing you know, you were like, oh my Lord, what's going on?
You knew something special was happening because Freddie hadn't really hit that well up to that point. He really didn't do that much in the playoffs. Like everyone, he didn't win any of the MVPs. Rosario won the NLCS, and Soler won the World Series MVP.
What will the crowd reaction's got to be all standing ovation when he comes back for the first time, right? Or do you think there will be any?
It'll be forgotten. I think it's June. We thought about going to that, but we're going to the Reds game instead. If it would have gotten pushed back, the start date would have been pushed back any further. We thought about going to that, or they were playing the Cardinals in July. We were going to go to one of those.
Opening weekend's the best, though, man. You can't beat that.
We're actually going to be there the night that they give him the rings, and that wasn't planned. That just happened. That's pretty cool.
The ring ceremony is one of those things where when you get to experience it as a fan, that's perhaps the best type of game you could attend, because it's just so special for not only the fans, but the players, the coaches, and everybody in attendance.
Oh, man, the pitching.
Adalberto Mondesi off the board.
It's crazy, the pitchers who are left, and their ADP versus their rank versus their X rank. It's getting to the point where they're all so wild and spread out. It's like Max said, you see a rank and then you look at their ADP, you're like, wait a minute, how did he just go up 60 spots or down 60 spots? Like what's going on here?
And then it's tough too, because a guy like Kevin Gausman or a guy like Jose Barrios, it's like
just professional batter.
Yep.
JD Martinez.
Yep. He is a professional batter. That's one thing. He's a unit in that batter's box.
You know what? I don't know why I've always liked this. I mean, he is pretty good, but I've always had a soft spot for him. So I'm going to try him again this year. Jose Barrios will be one.
Oh, I thought the Sox fan in you was going to go Jose Abreu.
This is a guy that I couldn't keep because I had to make some decisions because I didn't want to keep all batters. I was loaded at batting. I actually won the championship last year in that league. And Arozarena, I made a trade for him. I can't even remember what the trade was, but he was a part of a trade. I hated not keeping him. I was like, this sucks, man. But it is what it is.
Arozarena is one of those guys too, typical Rays star, right? Comes a little out of nowhere, and he just shines on the spot, man. In that postseason when the Rays made that World Series run against the Dodgers, he was incredible. Last year, he really turned it on in the second half. That's another guy.
What's Eloy gonna do this year, man? Stay healthy.
Shohei.
You got pitcher Shohei.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. After I looked at ADP.
No, he's good. I like pitcher Shohei. I think Eloy. I think Eloy gets hurt 1 DL stint this year.
All right. I guess I'll go Homer here. Give me Charlie Morton.
Oh man,
Charlie
he came
bit
up
my
clutch.
finger.
I was really pleasantly surprised with how. I mean, his career is just very durable. Like he's just been.
Well, he's looked really good in the spring. I wasn't planning on drafting him at all because older guy coming off a broken leg, but he's looked really good in the spring, and I was like, all right, never mind. You got to have a Braves pitcher, and he's the most consistent one. Because I'll tell you what, Max Fried, I love him. I kept him in one of my keeper leagues, but dude, that guy will go through like a month and a half without being able to find the strike zone. And you're like, oh God, here we go again. I'm thinking the World Series win changes all that, but you just never know.
What are you going to wear to opening day, Mr. Mac? Jersey,
Nothing.
T-shirt. Okay, I'm not tuning in that day.
Oh, opening day for the broadcast. It'll be one of my Braves jerseys because it's Braves Reds. So 8:08 Eastern time. It really was a kick in the junk when I saw that because we're leaving at the crack of ass the next morning. Okay. And
what are you going to wear for that game?
Opening day?
Yep.
It'll be one of my I usually tend to wear either Chipper or the Phil Necro.
Nice.
For McGee and I on the call, Braves Reds, I'm gonna have to wear my Barry Larkin t-shirt.
No.
For the actual game, I'm gonna wait till I get there. I'm buying something. We looked at a bunch of stuff online because we thought we'd get better deals, but they were just running out of stuff. So I'm gonna wait till I actually get to the ballpark and overpay for something stupid.
I always get something when I go to the ballpark.
There was a badass pullover that I liked, man.
Dang it, a Rose Arena gone.
And I dragged my feet. Wife and I talked about it. 48 hours later, I go back to look it up, and the damn thing was gone. I was ticked.
That's brutal.
Yeah. Because it's supposed to be kind of cool there. So that's one of the reasons why I was looking for, kind of a hoodie type thing. And they've got this thing. It's like half jersey, half hoodie. And it was going to be perfect to wear to the game. And they still have it, but they don't have the color that I like. They have like that cream color, and I don't like getting those light colors because, man, I'm going to spill beers and hot dogs and stuff on it, man.
We ain't here to be perfect clean. We're here to watch baseball and smell like a hot dog, fresh cut grass. Give it to me, baby.
Yeah, I think, I can't remember now. It's been so long since we've talked about it. I think we've got good seats. I think it's like a few rows back over the third base line. So
that's awesome.
I'll be able to see they're playing the Reds.
Hey, who's this guy running on the field? Oh God, it's Mac McGee. He takes out the Reds player.
That stadium, what's great about it, especially, all these new baseball stadiums, but I've been in to the stadium twice, but I've yet to watch a game. We watched batting practice, and then the other game got rained out. Just like all the new ballparks, like there's not a bad seat in the damn house.
That's good.
If you can get seats in the outfield, it's cool as hell, man. They got these damn like fans set up for you, like literal fans blowing on you, and like coast drink holders and all that kind of stuff. So cool.
You can't beat that. That's a nice thing. I mean, the old ballparks have the nostalgic feel, but the new ballparks have all the good technology and to make you feel right at home when you're watching a game.
I swear it feels like it's been a half hour since I've drafted.
Mac, I feel the same exact way, man. I'm like, I keep going through my list and it keeps getting shorter. But I love the nostalgia of Wrigley Field, the tones too, until you stand next to three people in the trough and then you just smell everyone. I mean, I like Wrigley getting a little innovative there, but it's always a great time sitting in the bleachers at Wrigley, but it's a little uncomfortable compared to Brave Stadium, where you probably get those nice chairs with the nice cup holder, get to sit back, relax, and watch a show. Wrigley, you get the flat benches. I'm over that. I'm just done with. I know Green Bay's got them. Wrigley's got them. I'm done with the flat benches. I'm over that feel.
Yeah, I've only been to one game that was years ago, and I really don't. I was out in the damn bleachers, and that's all I remember. We stood the entire game, so I really don't remember. I just remember being in the bleachers and being a little intoxicated. They're playing the Marlins, man, and it was a high scoring game. I don't even remember who won. Now, I used to know the score, but it's only been like 10 years ago. But so Marlins, they're playing the Marlins. I just remember it was a high scoring game, something like 11-8 or something like that.
I always got to love a nice little shootout. Although pitchers duel is awesome too. So I like either.
The coolest thing about going to a baseball game, and I mean any sporting event, but especially baseball, since there's so many games, you could always see history, whether it's someone hits for the cycle, a no-hitter, a perfect game. There's just so many different nuances of the game that you see something new every day.
Man, it's getting close to me and Mac territory.
I know. My last two picks.
I see a guy that I've kind of honed in on now that he's still there. I'm waiting for Doug to actually draft because he's probably listening.
Yeah. We're giving away our own draft info, not even knowing. I love it.
If he waits till like the last second, I'll tell you.
My last two picks were Corey Seager and Emmanuel Clase.
I say.
I think Clase.
Look at him. He's going to get autoed. He got autoed.
Oh, wow. You hate to see it.
Yeah, it's a shame. Brandon Lau. I was surprised by his numbers when I went back to look at it. Second baseman, he can play outfield too. That dude had 39 home runs last year.
I was looking at him.
The first weekend of the fantasy season last year, I traded someone Dustin May for Brandon Lau.
Have you did anyone catch the little spot they did on Jazz Chisholm on MLB Network a few days ago?
I had it on in the background, but I wasn't listening. It was just on his background.
He is a trip, man. He was talking about these glasses. These they're not really shades, they're glasses that he's turned into shades. He's getting them made into shades that he's all in love with. That was like the whole thing he talked about.
Marlins have a fun little roster.
Funny. It always goes that way.
I just went Bregman and Realmuto.
Oh man, I'm not going Wainwright. I know everyone's big on him as last year.
I was thinking about it,
dude. That guy, man.
I know, but he's a classic. I know he's not good anymore, probably, but
Wayno. Realmuto's a good pick.
Man, I'm going Rodon, man.
Yeah, I was surprised when he but left the Sox. But Giants always succeed with pitchers, I feel like, so he should do fine there.
And he's a guy who wanted the money, I feel like.
Well, he's also going to be going against a lot of Rockies and Diamondbacks.
Right, exactly. That is true. He has a chance to perform in a lot. Well, yeah, he's got Diamondbacks, Rockies.
Huge stadium.
I guess on the contrary, though, when he's on the road in Colorado, I guess that could get a little sticky. But
dude, all I know is I want to know I want to know part of Gaussman going into Toronto.
Yep,
because he struggled a couple of his other stops. Now he had a great year last year, not taking that away from him. But you go to Toronto to go face the AL East in that freaking pinball machine.
I think the hardest players to judge in fantasy baseball are those veteran pitchers who have a bounce back year and then they go somewhere else and it's like, A lot of tough decision making to come down. Ooh, I'm already up in 3 picks.
I always punt on catchers. There's like 2 or 3 like dominant catchers. Catchers the tight ends of baseball, right? So if you don't get one of them, then I'm just like,
exactly.
Dude, I'm just gonna be streaming that the rest of the year.
That's why I kind of like Realmuto because he could play first too. So I was just like, you know what? I agree with you. Usually I just bottom out on a catcher, but this time I took
Carlos Perez. I mean, not Carlos Perez. Salvador Perez did have a monster year, though. I mean,
he's solid.
You got him, didn't you, Tones?
Yes, sir. I did. He had over 40 homers and 100 ribbies.
I think he had like 48, didn't he? It was something ridiculous.
Yeah, and remember, he even had a good showing in the home run derby as an underdog. Not that he did much because he ran.
I love him too, man. Like he's one of my favorite players in baseball, but he just goes too high, and I worry about a 32-year-old catcher. But man, that dude has just been a beast.
Yeah, when he's on, he is on, man. And there's no better catcher in baseball than when Salvador Perez is playing at his best.
Like if they announced we're gonna make him the DH because we got a young stud coming up at catcher, I'd be like, boom, I'm getting him, right? But I just worry about the wear and tear on his knees.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like a guy like Shelby, you know, he has had some injuries before, as many catchers do. It's just hard to judge as they get older.
Jonathan India, where's Doug? Doug drafts down here, so he's still quite a ways away. There's no way Jonathan India makes it past Doug. If Doug's a fake.
He's auto drafted.
The only one I see on auto draft right now is Matata.
Yeah, you're right on that. Everyone else seems to be present, but you know, maybe someone's asleep at the wheel like Tony La Russa was once.
he's had a quiet off season, so maybe he tamed it down. Maybe Bruce Arians will take that role over now.
At least he's retired.
So Tony or Tones, where are you going?
I went with Chapman last time, and this time I'm going with someone who got moved, actually. I like his potential. I'm going with Jesse Winker. I liked what he did last year a lot in Cincinnati. I think that was a great pickup for Seattle. I think he could continue to have success over there.
These are actually going to be my last.
So this is your team. This is what it looks like right now.
Salvador Perez.
It's Anthony's team.
Not a lot of starting pitching, but a hell of a lot of closing and big sticks in the lineup.
So you go to Doug. Let's see what Doug's team looks like. Did India already get drafted? Oh yeah, someone snagged him. Doug's gonna go on a murdering spree now.
Is he a big Jonathan India guy?
Well, he's just a huge Reds fan, man. Doug's been watching the Reds since the 70s.
Yeah. India is going to be a stud too, I think. If you watch his game last year, he's one of those kids who could compete, and he brings it every night.
I'm just waiting to see who Max steals from me before I get my couple picks, because I got my couple players locked in.
All right, so my turn now. Tell you who I don't trust is freaking Yelich.
Yeah, Yelich is one of those dudes who at this point...
They were singing some stupid songs about him, man. I mean, they were singing it on MLB Tonight the other day. Oh, man, he's going to have a bounce back here. Kiss my rear end, dude. I'm not touching. Not in a million years am I touching him. I think I'm going to go Haniger, man. He's solid.
He was up there in my K. I got to get a closer, so I'm going to go Diaz.
I have to look at it too. That so do we even have
Edwin Diaz?
I really like Schwarber. I went Diaz and Schwarber, two guys in the West. The East. Hey boys, I'm gonna keep drafting, but I gotta go take some real quick. So I might be back on, but I'm gonna keep drafting.
All right, my turn. I'm gonna go ahead and take Kenley. What the hell? Why not?
Not a bad choice.
Where's he headed to?
I don't know where the heck he's going. We're in the middle of the draft and he's just
taking a bathroom break or something. What's going on?
Some people ain't cut out for this stuff, you know.
I guess, man. He's like, I made it 30 minutes. I'm out. So
it is hard, man, when you're looking at it. It's like,
so you got picks in what, 3 picks?
Yep, I'm up in a few.
What's crazy is Christian Yelich was like one of the best players in baseball. It was like 2 years ago. It was like right before 2020.
Yeah, he had a hell of a. I mean, he was MVP, right?
Yeah, I don't know how in the world that dude, man. I don't know. I don't know how he ended up where he just absolutely fell off.
And I mean, imagine how, I mean, the Brewers obviously still predicted to do good, but they could really use a guy like Yelich to be that man in the middle.
They sunk so much money into him when they got him over. They extended him pretty far. So it's not like they're going to give up on him.
I totally agree. I'm going with a little bit. This one could be a coin flip. He did have an all-star year last year. I'm going with Jared Welch on the Angels.
Oh, wow.
You know, that's a little risky maneuver, but all my starting batters are set now. I just need a couple utility guys there, and then I got to work on my pitching and bench.
Yeah, I picked him up pretty early in the season last year, and he helped carry a couple of my teams.
Yeah, especially like to and through the All-Star break. He was phenomenal.
That's what's great about baseball and fantasy baseball is you can find these players throughout the year. If you're paying attention to the waiver wire, you're paying attention to what's going on as far as you'll have guys that give up on guys because they have a slow start. Last year in the Dynasty League, we had a guy that dropped Jose Altuve because if you remember, he started off terrible last year. And I saw him out there on the waiver wire, and I was like, I didn't even really need him at the time because just the way my team was constructed. It's not like you can't use Altuve, but I had someone else playing second. I can't remember what it was. I was like, you know what? Screw that, dude. I'm not letting Jose Altuve sit out there. So I grabbed him, and then he warmed up a couple of weeks later, and it was a godsend.
Yeah, getting a guy like Altuve for from the free agent wire, whether it's keeper or dynasty league or not, is never a bad thing.
Someone always just goes bonkers and drops someone they shouldn't drop.
Yeah, and you see it every year, and you think people change, and they don't change. So, you know, whatever. Hey, some people's bad issues are other people's fantasy treasures, and that's the thing with baseball. You really got to be looking at the waiver wire because you never know who might be hanging out there.
Let's see, look who's drafting next. Let's see. Envy's drafting right now, and he's pretty much filled up his pitching. I know he loves him some Alek Manoah, and I knew he was going to get this guy, Trevor Rogers, Miami Marlin. Any kind of like good Miami Marlin, he's going to go all in for.
Yep, and Trevor Rogers had a nice year last year.
He did. He had a really good year. But what ticked me off, and it's what makes me hesitant about Marlin pitchers, is they shut them down in like mid to late August and early September because they don't want to wear them out.
Mm-hmm.
And now, granted, if they're in the playoff push, they're not going to do that. But the Marlins won't be in the playoff push in September. And you're going to be in the playoffs, and you're going to have to drop some guy. You're just going to be pissed about it.
I agree with you there, man. I don't know who to.
I had 2 or 3 Marlin pitchers that were pitching really well last year in our keeper league, and every single one of them got shut down going into our playoffs.
Yeah, I remember they did that a couple of years ago as well. I feel like that's the thing with them. The only year they didn't do that is, you know, the shortened season.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because everybody made the playoffs that year. Yeah. That's another guy that has not came back. You know, he's on no one's radar draft. If you're in a super deep league, keeper league, Sixto Sanchez is an interesting one. I don't think he's going to make the team coming out, but he's an interesting one for like a long term. If you're in a keeper league, a long keeper league, because I think he'll get a shot at some point this year. But he's battling injury again. I saw a report a couple of days ago, and he's got started late in the spring and whatnot. Like that dude just cannot stay healthy.
Yeah, that's the thing with baseball. It's such a long season too. You really want the guys who could try and stay. I mean, I know health is an unpredictable thing, but in that long of a fantasy grind, you just hope that you don't get a guy who gets put on the 60-day shelf right away. And then it's like, oof, there goes half the damn year already.
Yeah. So now it's mine. I'm going to go ahead and take a risk on this dude, man. Bobby Witt Jr. He has been an absolute stud in the spring, and people were clamoring, wanting him to get called up last year, but they weren't doing it because of the screwy rules with baseball, right? But
yeah.
See, I probably need to go. It's like Joey went to auto draft. What's he doing? Is this got something to do with wrestling?
No, I don't think there's any wrestling on tonight. Steven just commented, of course I get auto drafted, absolute garbage. But I don't think Joey's exit has anything to do with wrestling. I'm not really sure what what the guy's up to tonight, to be honest. I thought it was for Law and Order SVU, but I just looked and those aren't even new tonight.
Is he not DVR? That's junk.
Well, they ain't even new tonight.
That's funny.
The crazy guy.
Oh man, the pitching is slim. What do we got here in batters?
Everything's starting to look a little slim. I mean, not slim. You got a lot of good ball players left. But
Chapman. Thought I heard someone say that they drafted him already.
Who, Matt Chapman?
Yeah.
I got to roll this Chapman.
Oh, maybe that's who you were talking about.
Yeah, I probably referred to the wrong thing, or referenced the wrong thing. Or
I was just I have him on the brain because he's just went over to Toronto.
I see Blake Snell just went. His year should be interesting, I feel like.
That's another guy who won't be on one of my damn teams.
I had him last year and it was oof. Until the end of the year. End of the year, he did all right, but
hell with him. Ever since his little rant during 2020 about not wanting to play, I got to get mine. Nope. That dude can be the best player in baseball, and I want nothing to do with him.
I agree with you, man. There's some people that just don't have the personality to, have the in it to win it type feel, and he might be one of those dudes.
This dude launches. I don't think he's going to make it back to me, so I'm not worried about it. But CJ Crone went to Colorado.
I do like Crone. I mean,
28 home runs last year, 92 RBI. And now he's in Colorado.
He could rake, man. That's one of those situations where he absolutely could rake.
Did Conforto ever sign, or what's going on here?
Conforto, not yet. I don't think so, at least. I could be out on that, but
they're saying that he got hurt working out in January, according to Rosenthal. So he's not 100% healthy yet. I'm steering clear of that guy.
I was looking at freaking I know it's only spring training, but Mike Clevenger, and it's like he let up 8 runs in 1/3 of an inning. Not how you want to start your spring.
What are they doing leaving him out there?
Right? It's like, come on now.
Who was it? So, the Cardinals tore up the Nats a couple of days ago, beating them 28-4. And Anibal Sanchez gave up 10 runs in 1 inning.
It's like, what is the point
of him back out there?
It's like, what's the? I guess if you want to stretch him out, but talk about getting
That's
a load.
All it is. Like in a normal 5-week spring training, there's no way those guys stay out there. But remember, they started this in 2020. They got that new rule where you can go back out because it started because of COVID and the start-stop junk they went through. So I was doing the Braves game the other day and it happened. The rules slipped my mind. Ian Anderson started getting pounded in the second inning. They pulled him out. Another pitcher came in, finished off the inning. Then Ian Anderson went back out for the next inning.
Yeah, that slipped my mind for a minute too, actually, until you refreshed me right there. I forgot about that, but that's not a terrible idea for spring training, in my opinion.
No, it's not. I think it's a great idea for spring training because you get guys the work you want to get them in, and then you also don't run the risk of having some dude out there for 60 pitches in 1 inning because you're just trying to get them stretched out.
Right. Ryan Mountcastle just went. He's an interesting guy.
Who did you just draft?
I drafted back-to-back pitchers, Pablo Lopez and Eduardo Rodriguez. I like Eduardo this
I'm
year.
interested to see what Erod does. I don't think we ever got to the Tigers. Were you going over or under?
I was going over on them. I listed him in one of my top off seasons in last week's episode, and I'm going to continue my love for them in this week's episode. Again, after getting AJ Hinch at manager, after getting Eduardo Rodriguez, after getting Javier Baez, they got a couple other really good pieces as well, like Andrew Chafin for the bullpen. And they got some really good young talent in a weak division, but up and coming division. Like you said, I think the Tigers are one of the teams that take a step forward in that division.
Well, I just picked the guy's going to be beating them baseballs like he beat his women.
Marcell
Ozuna.
That's pretty good value at this point in time for him, at least.
Yeah.
In terms of fantasy.
Curious if there's nothing left out there on that. All right, who we got here? I need to go to another pitcher, I think. Man.
It's like a weird mix.
I'm going to take a damn risk on Kepik.
I like him. I mean, if he bounces back like he should from his injury, that could be a hell of a pick. Now, sometimes you see guys like that and they never come back the same, but a lot of times nowadays with modern medicine, you see those guys come back and, he went to the bullpen and now he's going to go back to starting. So you hope that he could just be what he was supposed to be.
Got a pretty good team right now. Now, the interesting part on these leagues, especially if there's 10 of them, is going to be the depth of your team.
Yeah, that's the thing. These teams, you got to have good depth, man. It's all about depth in fantasy baseball because, probable pitchers, closers, guys who have off days batting. It's like, since it's a points-based league especially, you want to make sure your bench guys get in there. Sometimes if you forget to set your lineup on a category, it is what it is. But in points-based, you want to make sure all these guys get in there.
I'll tell you what's awesome right now. I've got the MLB app going on 2 games. Both these games are live right now. Both night games. One's Mets, Nats, and the other one's Cardinals, Marlins. I thought these were reruns at first when I put them on, but they're both live.
Man, doesn't it just feel good?
The Mets fans are coming out and supporting. That surprises me.
Doesn't it just feel good to have baseball right around? Like when baseball comes.
Tones, this should be opening day if they hadn't screwed the pooch.
Well, leave it up to Manfred and Tony Clark to do that. Those two guys, if you put those two in a room, I don't expect.
Remember, I think Atlanta was supposed to play the Marlins. Did you see what they did to the schedule? How they're getting it back to where it is?
They're putting a bunch of doubleheaders sprinkled in there or whatnot.
Well, they're doing one extra series at the very end of the season. Mm-hmm. So the season was supposed to end on like Sunday, and instead it's going to end on like, I think, Wednesday. So that takes care of one of the series. And then the other series, they're adding double headers 2 days after the All-Star game. And then they're sprinkling that extra game in somewhere else.
And I just went with Marcus Stroman. But with that series added to the end of the year, if a cold weather team makes it all the way, that could heavily impact some of the weather potentially.
You got your boy Stroman, huh?
Yeah, I had to go with the Stro show.
That.
I had to go with him because he's pretty consistent. Like, he's one of those.
Yeah. You can't hate on, look, I'm not a fan of Stroman because he does some questionable things on social media, but he's a solid pitcher. I had him for a while, and I believe that the Mets took a step back with their number 3 pitcher getting Bassett. Bassett's good, don't get me wrong, but I think Stroman's got better stuff.
I agree with you. I think Stroman's better than Bassett. Bassett is pretty good, like you said. Nothing against Bassett, but I'd rather a Stroman. If you're strong arming me, one guy to have, I'd go with Stroman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, there are some crappy closers nowadays.
Yeah, no, I got one closer and the rest. I see this every year. There's usually a couple of closers that come into the fold in the first month or so, and I just keep my eye out and grab one.
Yeah, that's all, because someone
gets so many teams right now that it's by committee. That's what they say, but you'll find out in the first couple of weeks who they're leaning with. And then you're going to have another 5 to 7 closers that crap the bed. They can't keep the job. And so you're going to have to go pick up his backup.
Yeah, exactly. Either guys implode or guys get injured more often than not. Sadly, it seems to start seasons anymore. So that's something you really gotta, consider and look into or whatnot. But
you know what has surprised me? So Casey Mize, when he came up, either I think it was 2 years ago, young pitcher for the Tigers, and they were big on Casey Mize, right? That's all they talked about, is he was like one of the best pitchers and prospects in baseball.
Right.
You look at his strikeout numbers last year and what he's projected for this year. That dude is not a strikeout pitcher at all. And I thought he was. Like, that's all they talked about, man. That's all they talked about when he was in. This cracks me up, man. There's this little fat kid with the Reds jersey on in some commercial. What is that commercial for? Junior Home Run Derby. And I kid you not, the damn kid's last name is McGee and it's spelt the same way. And he does like a, what do you call it? This thing?
Oh, dab.
Yeah. Every time I see that, I tell my wife, I was like, if I think about it, I'm going to record that and put that a part of our intro. So when you see this little fat kid in there dabbing with the last name McGee, you'll know why it happens.
That is pretty cool, man. There goes Blake Training.
So who's gone here recently? Oh, Training just went.
I took Mark Melanson and Marcus Stroman with my last 2 picks.
Dude, Jack Flaherty, man, that guy is. Oh, it's my turn to pick now.
I'm not huge on his persona off the field either, and he gets hurt so much that that's one guy who never really interests me personally. He does have electric stuff when he's on, though. But he's not really healthy too often.
I'm going to go all in over here in the world of San Francisco and go get Alex Wood.
He had a nice year last year.
He did.
So did Ty France.
For some reason, I thought I had a third pitcher from them, so I guess I don't.
Oh, never mind. Joey, auto drafting got Joey's team looking like scrambled eggs right now. No, it ain't terrible, but some of the guys you draft and auto draft, they could easily turn out, and then some of them you look at it and it's like, geez, I want nothing to do with that guy.
So well, Ryu, I don't like having a dude from Toronto in my pitching staff, but I think that's just incredible value at that point.
Oh yeah.
You know he's going to go out there and eat you innings. You know he's going to get run support. He just has to keep their runs down.
Exactly.
Maybe he'll pitch a bunch of home games and the opposing team won't have vaccinations and he'll just be going against freaking damn. He'll be going against like me and you.
Yeah, they'll trot him out. Hey, Yankees are going to give us a call. You want to be our Toronto batters for us when we go out there? We're just going to keep some guys home.
You have 100 at bats against major league pitching today. What are your chances of getting a base hit?
I think,
100 one base hit.
I'd put my over under at 1.5. Just because, I don't think it's the prettiest of hits. They could be ugly dribblers. They could be little bloopers or whatnot.
Yeah. Obviously neither one of us are going yard. I'm talking about, are you going to get lucky enough and the ball's just going to hit the bat the right way? It's going to bloop over someone's head.
I think
I'm obviously not getting an infield hit. That's not happening. I'm not drag bunting my way onto base.
No, I think I'd tear out my knee if I tried for an infield hit nowadays. I'd have to poke it over someone's head into the outfield or hit a hard line drive either through one of the infield gaps.
Man, here's a guy I'm not willing to go for here. Joey Gallo. That is a strikeout machine.
Yeah, he's a tough one in fantasy. He used to have the intrigue, and every year he keeps losing it, in my opinion.
I still got to get us something because Acuna is going to be on the IL, so I got to put someone in my, I guess, a utility because I got Ozuna. That was the reason why I drafted Ozuna, is because I needed someone to put in the outfield.
Never a bad thing. Outfield with,
I think Ozuna's going to have a bounce back here. I know a lot of people have mixed opinions about it. I look at it as when I look at everything that goes on in that case, considering the fact that his wife beat his ass the year before. And when the facts came out, it wasn't as one-sided as everyone, as they tried to sell it. They tried to sell it like Ozuna was just had her pressed up against the wall and whipping her. Right. And then the real facts came out, and that wasn't the case at all. He was fighting her off. She was hitting him, and he was trying to swing his cast to get her off him.
And it's sad to see because everyone always jumps to conclusion when they hear stories in the media, but you really got to wait for everything to come out and let it all unravel before you look like a fool and you speculate
he
too
played
soon.
in the Dominican league this past winter. So it's not like he hasn't been playing competitive baseball.
Right. And, you got to stay at him. You'll like this one, although you don't like the team he's on anymore. I'm going with the little Jorge Soler.
Yeah, man, that was one of my, I'll always have a fondness for him, man. But I just think Atlanta ran out of money, and they've got some young kids that they really are hoping will develop. And if they would have signed him to a 3-year deal, you're essentially going to have to trade away another prospect. And they just didn't want to get into that. And let's be honest. Soler had a really good month for the Atlanta Braves. And broken up. It wasn't a consecutive month. Outside of that, there's a reason why he got traded. He got traded because he was hitting like 200 at the deadline.
Right.
And I think he's going to go back into his old fold because he's not going to have that protection. He was hitting leadoff for Atlanta. Freddie Freeman was hitting behind him. Of course he's seeing good pitches.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
that's part of the draft. It's not a bad pick because you're just trying to swing, you're just trying to get a guy.
That's the thing. It's like when you got a good guy behind you in the order, how much is it actually you doing the work, and how much is the intimidation behind the matter actually doing the work? But in fantasy, that's a beautiful thing. It doesn't really matter, I guess. It's just if they produce or not.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go. Interesting dude right there, Brian Hayes.
Yeah, he was a top pick last year, and a lot of people had intrigue in him because he's one of those young dudes. So
you can see the talent with him. I just don't know if you're going to see it jump off the page this year. But you can definitely same thing with that Carter Keyboom. I mean, he's on the IL, but let me see here.
I agree.
Well, they did not trade for that guy to have him sit on the bench. So Garver ought to have a pretty good year for a catcher.
And he rakes, man. I mean, that's a guy who rakes. So
I think he could easily get 30 home runs this year in that park, in that lineup.
That's another one of those improvements that they made that kind of went unnoticed, but it was a subtle trade, and I think they won that trade. I mean, they got rid of a utility knife and, Isaiah Kiner or whatever, but I like Mitch Garver. I like the return they got.
This is I know I'm going to regret this, but I'll go ahead and draft Severino.
He's one of those guys where when it's this late in the draft, the intrigue is good enough to draft him, but at the same time, you usually know what you're getting with a guy like that. But what the hell is Michael Conforto doing? Does he know opening day 7 days away? I mean, I know a new trend in baseball.
I was just talking about him. I don't know if you caught that or not, but he Ken Rosenthal reported this evening that evidently he had some kind of injury in January and he's coming back from it, but he hasn't signed basically because he can't pass a physical yet.
And see, things like that, And things like the Braves getting Kenley Jansen to nix the value of Will Smith are exactly why I always have a draft as late as I can, because you never know what's going to happen in the coming weeks and months to
So, I guarantee you, because of the way it's set up, between now and Tuesday, someone's tearing their ACL, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to happen, and he'll probably be on my team, but there's nothing you can do about it.
I bet you one big hitter goes down, and then I bet you either Tommy John or something else pops up with pitchers too. Just because.
Have you noticed though? We have not seen the Tommy Johns that we saw at the rate about 4 or 5 years ago.
You are right about that. At one point, it was becoming very alarming for baseball.
Because everyone in America has already had Tommy John surgery. I mean, I think I had 3 alone in 2018.
It did get to the point of like they just started piling up, and I know it's.
There was talk, man, when we started this show 14, 15, somewhere in that area. There was talk about people seriously considering just going ahead and giving their pitcher Tommy John surgery at an early age, even if they didn't need it, because it was going to make their arms stronger for the long haul.
And, and that's one of those things where obviously it makes their arm stronger for the long haul, but you never know when you go under the knife. Sometimes you just never come back the same.
Oh, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Why would you
saying that? I was like, you're just gonna put this kid under the knife. Okay.
Well, why would you ever risk it?
Yeah.
If you need it, that's one thing. But if you're one of these young pups and it's not a necessity, I just don't get it. Hey, I got my guy Saya Suzuki.
He went yard yesterday. I was watching that.
He's going to be a fun one to keep tabs on.
Yeah, I think he'll be good, man. I don't see him. I know people are worried about him, the transition from one league to the other, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I think some people are nervous and whatnot for sure, but I think he's going to pick up right where he left off in his last league. There's some guys on here. It's like they had really good years last year. Do you trust him this year though? I wonder if anyone's going to take the risk on a guy like Trevor Bauer.
Did you see this thing with DK Metcalf and his diet?
No, what happened?
So someone was interviewing him. Oh, it was Kevin Garnett. And he was asking what his, because he's jacked and he's got freaking, for people who haven't seen him before, he's jacked and he's, got 8 packs, 10 packs, whatever you want to call it. Like he's cut. And they were asking him what his diet was like. And he says, he eats 1 meal a day at the end of the day. But before that, he goes and he works out twice. Then he drinks 1 coffee at around noon. And then he eats like 3 or 4 bags of candy. And around 8 o'clock in the evening, he eats dinner. And that's it. And so, so the old heads are out there after him. I'm like, well, then dude's 24, 25, man, you can get away with it. But wait till I do agree he needs to get out in front of this now, because if you're going to be a professional athlete and you're going to eat all that damn candy, it's not going to turn out well. You're going to age terribly. That makes me as a GM not want to trade for him.
Yeah, the Marshawn Lynch technique.
Yeah, going all Skittles. What's up with the athletes in Seattle having to be all Skittle about it?
Maybe Pete Carroll gives him some weird, maybe they think they're Adderall because he used to give them all Adderall. So maybe they think the Skittles are Adderall that they're taking or something. But Seattle's got their ways up there, man. They're an interesting football club, to say the least. I mean, I don't know if it has anything to do with Pete Carroll and his regime, but, it is interesting over there, man. NFL draft 4 weeks from tonight. I know we're doing baseball draft and we're talking NFL, so that'll be fun.
I haven't even looked and see what game we're doing that night. We're going to do keep people abreast of what's going on in the draft as that's going on.
Yeah, because that's going to be a wild one. When is that? The last week of April, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to go in and look at. I can pull it up. Give me a second. I'll look at our schedule real quick. See, I'm thinking it's got to be Cubs. We do a lot of Cubs games after that first game.
Yeah. Between I looked at the schedule. We got a good schedule on tap, though, man. I'm excited. Next week, I'm ready to get after it. So we got 3 games to tuck in before the draft. Then I believe
I'll look at it, man. I'm drafting right now. Let me see here. Well, there's a bunch of garbage out there right now. I'm not buying Kyle Gibson, man. I'm just not. You almost want to. Ugh. Some junk out here now. You know what? I'm just gonna have the most dysfunctional team on the planet. I'll just stash him in case he does come back. If he doesn't come back, then he'll just be on my NA list.
Sometimes that's how it goes.
All right, so now let me get serious and draft someone who I can actually start.
Braves signed Preston Tucker to minor league deal.
Yeah, that ain't gonna mean nothing.
He was on them before, I think, right?
You know what? He started off with a really good year last year and then fell off. I'm gonna take Taiwan Walker.
Yeah, Taiwan Walker was an all-star last year. Then he got the case of the yips one game and just never seemed to.
Man, I think I think he burned his arm out.
Yeah, because he's never pitched that many innings before.
That's a guy I'm not drafting thinking he's going to be there at the end for me. I'm just hoping he comes out the gate well.
Exactly. You hope to get a couple good months out of him, then whatever happens, happens.
So what were you asking about the? Now I know I updated this damn thing that's not showing it. That really ticks me off.
Oh, I was just saying, I believe we got 3 games before the NFL draft tucks in. So we got 3 games to announce before the night of the draft.
Let me see. I think I had it saved to my phone somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Do I get? Yeah, I got a minute. Well, keep it talking, man.
Not as many people are on auto draft as I thought at this point. I'm actually kind of proud of the league because usually you get this late in things and some people are on auto draft. We got a couple auto drafters in the building or whatnot, but not as many people as I thought.
It looks like. So we got Braves Reds first game, right? And then the second game, ooh, man, this one's fun. Blue Jays at the Yankees. And then we have Cubs on the 21st. And look at this. Thursday night, April 28th, which I'm pretty sure is the first day of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who it is?
Who we got?
The Chicago Cubs at the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, that's going to be,
wow.
What a night.
Yeah.
That's going to be a crazy night. We might need Troche to referee that one.
Where is Tampa drafting?
They are 27th this year. So they're in the back end of the draft, but, better than their 32nd pick they had last year. I
think Tennessee's drafting 25th or 26th. So, that's not.
They're essentially draft neighbors.
At least you have a draft pick, right? As opposed to some teams.
The team in the horseshoe state,
God, I was listening to New York radio today, and I always have to take this show with a grain of salt because one of the main guys on there, I call him headline guy, because he knows about as much about sports as the drunk in the bar. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a working knowledge of it, but I wouldn't call him by any means a sports expert. He's right. Because he makes fart jokes and does impressions, right? And he drummed up an idea of AJ Brown getting traded to the Jets. And I just don't buy it. There's been too much talk over the last several weeks. I almost called in. I was like, no, I'm not wasting my morning. But there's been too much talk over the last few weeks that AJ Brown and the Titans are looking to get an extension done over the summer.
Yeah, I wouldn't look too. I mean, the thing with that is it's just Jets people are always hopeful, and they haven't had a terrible.
Well, they're looking
season,
at having a receiver, and of course, they started drawing the connection of Elijah Moore went to Ole Miss, and so did AJ Brown, and all that junk. And I'm like, man, I just don't see it. Like, they wouldn't have brought in Robert Woods to be the number one. Robert Woods is a complimentary receiver, and they've got too good of a team to just punt on this year. You know, if Knucklehead doesn't throw that interception, the Titans have a very good chance of actually running the whole the whole gambit, because I'm positive they win the AFC Championship game if they get past Cincinnati. I don't know if they win the Super Bowl. That's a different question. They did beat the Rams, but usually in a rematch doesn't turn out well.
Yeah, absolutely. Those rematches never,
You're not punting. I mean, that would be like the Bucks trading one of their best players to get younger when Brady's like, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah, Brady, you'd have to run that one by Brady. That's for damn sure. The Titans are in it to win it this year, man. I just don't see them trading one of their better pieces on the offensive side of the ball right now like that.
Man, I don't know much, but I know one thing. There ain't no way in hell I'd be drafting Patrick Corbin at this high. What the hell's he doing to even rank that high?
Oof, he's ranked that high.
That's insane.
Whoever, it must be a Corbin relative, whoever made the Yahoo drafts rankings this year.
Tanner Hoke he's looked pretty good in the spring, but I think he's rated way too high.
All the arms at this point are pretty much a crapshoot. It's who you like, I feel like, at this point.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I always look at.
No, I agree with you on the Hawk thing.
I look at a couple of things, and one of the things I look at is the strikeouts that they're projected for.
Yeah, that's never a bad idea.
Man, I've got too many of these young dudes, but I'm going to go ahead and grab another one. Josiah Gray. I'm more likely to draft him in a keeper league, but I'll go ahead and take him there.
He's a guy who brings a lot of intrigue to the table, at least.
Well, yeah, he was the dude that came over in the trade that sent Scherzer packing to LA.
And Keith Ruiz, right?
Yeah. Someone just got hit in the damn elbow. Who is never mind, it's Jen Kikowski of the Mets.
I remember.
Damn, he's okay. That dude got hit in the damn elbow, and he doesn't have any padding or anything. How about Corey Kluber going to damn Tampa?
That's typical Rays move. I feel like, don't break the bank, but you get one of those good veteran guys who will be around for a short time, but he's there to help you win now. It's hard to rank some of these guys too. A guy like Kimbrel, who has Hendricks and Graveman in that bullpen. It's like a guy like Christian Javier, who's going to open the year in the bullpen, but
I hate doing this. I'm just going to grab Gibson, man. I hate doing it, but he has sat there way too long.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do that too. It's like,
well, when you already have Wheeler and you put Gray out there, Gibson out there, I'm looking at it as you got someone going back-to-back days. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a big fan of having players that are on the same rotation.
I agree with that, especially if it's a good one. If it'd be contrary if it's not a good one. It's crazy because sometimes a whole team gets their entire rotation drafted, and sometimes none of their, team starters don't even get sniffed at. Final 5 rounds here. That's beautiful because dinner is calling. 5 rounds. Let's make them count, though.
You need to bounce.
No, I'm good. I'm sticking through the 5. I had the impression we're doing it for the draft, so I'm here to stay. Unless you
Okay.
want to, but I'm good, my friend.
Let's say if you need to bounce, just let me know. I'm not trying to get you in trouble.
No, I'm good, man.
Get grounded for the weekend, man.
No more armchair for me for a week.
I don't want you to not be able to show up for opening day because we wanted to see if you were going to draft Bailey Ober or not.
I'm gonna show up in a dunce cap on opening day. No, I really got, I'm just, like I keep saying, between Buck stuff and baseball around the corner, I'm just excited. And we're to the point anyways, it's already about to be the 24th or 25th round. So it's like,
in a couple of weeks, we'll start talking some draft stuff here on the Thursday show leading into the ball games.
Yep. There will be a lot of good
obviously
draft
next
talk.
Thursday, it's going to be all about opening day, but probably the week after we'll start focusing on the draft.
I can't wait for that, man. And honestly, the Friday is my favorite night of the draft because you got that first and second, or the second and third round. I'm sorry. And those are fun rounds. Usually you get a lot of recognizable names in there. I'm on the clock. All right. It's like so many teams seem to be doing closer by committee approach nowadays too. It's like hard to even trust some teams that say one guy's their closer. Then you look at the depth chart and it's like, really?
Yeah. I've got to figure out a way to get some kind of depth on my hitting bench. I don't have anything. I don't even know if I have a. So what do we have? 4 rounds left? Is that correct?
Yep, 3.5 rounds. So we're nearing the end here. It's honestly, the later rounds have flown by. I feel like, well,
Mario Manning, he get hurt.
What happened?
Sore. Oh, that's right. I remember seeing that. People were making jokes. He didn't play today because of the sore foot, and they made a joke. They said they're joking. They're saying it's because he was running around the bases in the NLCS too hard.
Don't you love when your team can make jokes like that too? It's a good feeling. Oh, who Oscar, what got taken already?
Yeah, I'm curious who's still out there where I'm at right now. I'm pretty sure Kyle Wright's going to get that 5th spot.
That ain't a bad scoop at this point anyways. It's really luck of the draw with pitchers at this point.
Curious about someone else too, because this dude, yeah.
We're to the point where you go with your heart and you pick guys who you think could impact your team for a month or 2 at least.
I wouldn't grab 2 young kids. Kyle Wright will get a chance to start the season. We'll see what he does. I mean, look, he looked phenomenal in the postseason, but there's only a few innings. We'll just see where his head's at. And then the other kid, Hunter Green's going to get a chance to start for the Reds. He's blistering 101
He's
mile
going to be
an
a
hour.
stud.
This kid for the Tennessee Volunteers, have you seen this kid? He's hitting triple digits. He's their closer, like routinely. He's like 102, 103. It's ridiculous.
I see. Me and my buddy at work were watching his highlights the other day, and his fastball specifically, man, he's got some heat on that sucker.
Can't remember his name, but I think it's Bennett or something. Anyways, not important because he's in college, but I've watched him pitch a couple of times and he's just absolutely phenomenal.
I wonder how Joey Bart's going to be this year without Buster Posey.
I don't know. I'm more curious about what Rushman will do with Baltimore. Bart kind of struggled at the plate, but I do think long-term he's going to be a really good player.
There's so many young guys in fantasy. It's like you want to take a chance in all of them almost, damn near. I just got my guy Nick Madrigal. I think he could have a good comeback year from his injury.
Man, no one's grabbing Carlos Santana. He's just sitting out there. I can't use him because if I use him, there's always a something like that sits out there. I'm not trusting Mark Canyon either, man. Going over to the Mets.
Yeah, the thing with Santana, I can't really use him much either. Same with Nate Lowe and Mark Canha. You know, those are just guys where if you have those positions already too, it's like
if Tommy Pham can get the starting role in Cincinnati and get some good bats at the top of the order, that could be an interesting one in Cincinnati.
Yeah, he's not a bad player for them at all. That could be a guy. I mean, he's all they got really. So
I wonder who went and got what's his name from Atlanta, Duval, who drafted him? James. Okay. He's an interesting one, man, because he had almost 40 home runs last year. And but what you hate about him is he's hits at such a low batting average that you're going to go through droughts where you're going to be like, man, this dude's not doing anything for me. I'd rather have a guy that's going to get on base a lot.
Yeah, you got to have that.
But not David Fletcher, because that bastard can't hit it out of the infield. Like they're going to project for 166 hits. They'll all be infield grounders.
You ain't wrong on that, man. I mean, they're all going to be single. He might hit one or two. That's a rare guy who still could only have a handful of homers a year with his potential.
This is a kid. It's like if you're in a deep league, young league, Miles Straw is an interesting one. I think he could be the real deal.
Yeah, he could bring some noise to the table this year. He's a speedster, so that's always intriguing.
I'll go ahead and take Rosario as a bench bat. Way too many damn Braves. I'll end up changing that as it goes.
Crazy how that works.
So we got one more.
Yep, one more pick. Got to make it count. This is where, you pick that guy who, if you got to drop him week one, it is what it is. But if you somehow have him on your roster by the time the year ends, you're like, holy crap.
So I'm either going to go with a starting pitcher. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to see if I can catch lightning in a bottle. And I don't know who they start their season off with, but I'm going to go ahead and grab me a Fulmer should be their closer.
Yeah, him or Soto, but Fulmer should get more of the saves regardless.
He got pounded. That sucks. I'll probably end up dropping him. I'll just draft him right now, and then we'll see what happens.
That's always fun, right? When you're looking into someone, you read their news, and it's like, oh, he got obliterated, and he's a reliever who's battling for
the clock's winding down. What do I do?
Yeah, and then sometimes you just make a pick that you hate, and
it's like, well, it's either that or the computer's going to draft, Michael Givens for me. So, what do I do over here?
I remember that happened to me once. I was stuck with like Nolan Raymold or something. It was just brutal on the Orioles, and he was just terrible.
No, we're coming up on the last pick. Who do you got in mind?
I'm bouncing around here. I was trying to find a guy who I think has sleeper potential, but nothing really has quite given me the factor yet. So I think I might just roll with Joey Bart and hope that he's worth a damn by the time the season ends. But he's one of those guys where if he's not hitting by the time, it's the second, third week of the calendar year, he could find his way off the team very easily.
Dude, I've got 4 Braves on my starting lineup.
But then again, I was looking at it like a guy like McHugh on the Braves. I know he's a reliever who's not going to get a lot of saves, but he's just consistent. And if he gets you 2 or 3 nights of pitching a week and he could add some points in you, that's never a bad thing.
Has it finished?
We got 4 picks left. I'm between Colin McHugh and Joey Bart.
Well, don't take McHugh because he's going to be like a middle reliever.
Yeah, do holds value? Well, he might not. Yeah,
he's not going to be the holds. Like you can get some value from holds, but I wouldn't. He's going to be like the 6th inning guy,
right?
Assuming everyone stays healthy, but.
I'm interested to see what Adam Frazier does this year. He had a good first half to the year last year, then just nothing.
Yeah, man, so. He gets traded and he fell off the planet. I thought when he went over, so I had him in one of my, I think it was the keeper league. He gets traded over to San Diego, and I thought he was going to rake when he got over to that lineup, and he didn't do a damn thing.
I ended up going with him, so I got Frazier and Schwindel with my last 2 picks.
Is Frazier still second base outfield?
Yep, and he's projected to be the starting second baseman for the Mariners to open the year.
I like having my dude on the bench that can, have multiple designations.
A true utility man in totality. Yeah, I got him and Eugenio Suarez on my bench, and he's third base and shortstop eligible.
Well, cool, man. Last thoughts, because I know you got to run.
I had a ball tonight. I had a blast. The draft came and gone, but I'm really looking forward to the MLB. And once again, for one last time, thank you, Bruce Arians. I hope you have the best endeavors in your front office role, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Todd Bowles could do in try number 2. It's really do or die for Mr. Todd. So I'm happy to have him get an opportunity.
Happy with this whole thing is Byron Leftwich. He's not going to have to listen to Arians anymore.
And the thing with that, he'll have no problem getting a head coaching job in the near future, the way they're hiring young offensive guys. A guy like Todd Bowles could struggle. So that's where I am happy that we got it for Bowles as well. And
here's the other thing. If there is the tension, like it's been rumored between Brady and Arians, the other coaches will not be able to blame it on Arians this year. So you're going to have to pull up your big boy pants or your big girl panties, as they say, right? Because you can't go over to Brady. He's complaining and he goes, yeah, man, you know how he is. He's a jackass. You know how he is. You can't do that anymore because it's going to be like, dude, you're the one making this decision.
Exactly. And that's something that's interesting too, because guys like Byron and Brady will get a lot more of the scope on the offensive side of things instead of, like you said, always shoveling it off on BA.
All right, brother. Well, great job. And we'll see you next Thursday. I believe that's the next time that you're on with us for the opening day tomorrow, by the way, 1:00 Eastern, Braves, Red Sox. I'll have the call. And then Justin and I will be here tomorrow, 6:00 to 7 for TGIF. And we got some pretty funny topics set up for tomorrow. So y'all, Justin has got something that he's going to make an appearance on the show with, and that's all I'm going to leave it at. And you don't want to miss it because he sent me a picture of it and I busted a gut. So I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I'll be ready and I'll be ready to tune in. Looking forward to seeing you guys as always.
All right, brother.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette, please. Can